Hey, how are you guys doing today? I'm entitled this video Jumping Ship. It's about leaving your comfort zone or your safe space, if I can use that phrase, and stepping up to challenges. How many of us have found ourselves in a precarious situation? I'd say most of us probably have. And it's always uncomfortable. It may even feel unsafe. The disciples found themselves in many unsafe and uncomfortable positions as they followed Jesus, and of course, after Jesus. One particular story is of the 12 when they were in the boat trying to cross the Sea of Galilee, and they're met with a storm. It's tossing their little boat all over the place. But making things even worse is that it was at nighttime. And I think even making it more frightful is all of a sudden they see a figure appear as if they're walking on storm-tossed water. So the first reaction is, it's a ghost. And we all know this story. It's the story of Jesus walking on the water. However, Peter has a different perspective on this all. He tells the Lord, or calls out to the Lord, "Call me, and if you do, I will come out to you." Well, we all know that Jesus did that. And this is where the jumping ship comes from. It's actually getting out of your comfort zone or out of your safe space. Peter steps out of the boat and he begins to walk in the water. Now, the Bible doesn't tell us whether it's 2 steps or 10 steps. It's not specific on how far he actually walked before he lost sight and began to sink. Most of us use this story to teach about losing faith and how Jesus is there to rescue you. However, for me, it was more of, hey, you. Me? Yeah, you. What? Get out of your boat. What is your boat, is what I would have to ask you. And how big is it? Because you may have to work your way up to the top of the boat where you can actually get out of it. So depending upon how far down into the boat we're buried will determine how many stairs we have to climb to get to that what we call weather deck, an outside deck which we can now access the water from. It's easy to stay in our warm, comfy, cozy scenario and not take these challenges, right? So I'm going to say this to you. Did you know that nationally, the number one complaint of pastors is that their congregation as a whole doesn't do anything? That sounds harsh, doesn't it, right? The pastors are saying their congregants don't do anything. That is, they pass the ministry buck to the church leaders. Now, of course, you remember the old adage about 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. Well, for pastors, they like to say that 90% of the work is done by 10% of the people. Now, here's the rub of all this, you see. I blame them because they teach their sheep to be sheep, to be comfortable in sitting in their pews for 45 minutes to an hour each week. Now, we all know this. We know that the vast majority of people will come to church or come to church events, enjoy themselves, and then go home. But only a small portion of the other remaining people will do the actual work to create Sunday morning and or whatever that event might be. For me, the most recent get out of my boat epiphany, it's been a journey. It's taken me 25 years to get here. So the question is, what took me so long? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It's research first. Digging into the history of Hebrews, into Judaism and understanding Judaism, looking at language of both Hebrew and Greek and understanding that, the translations of the Bible, looking at early Christian history and doctrines and the development of it all. It's taken me quite a while to do all that and to fully come to the grips with what I finally came to grips with. Secondly, it's my fear of being excommunicated by my fellow believers, friends and family. Seriously, I find myself like, how can I go into a church and on Sunday or on a Saturday and begin to even share what I'm thinking without fear of being tossed out of that church? and most churches. It's truly a thing. But here's one thing I've come to realize, that is, God is bigger and more important than that. My obedience to and walk with God is paramount. It goes beyond a denomination or man-made constructs. It goes beyond a pastor or a rabbi. It's me and God. And a few months ago, I concluded that I needed to come out of the so-called closet as a follower of Yeshua, of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I can no longer accept that which is not God-breathed, not found specifically in the Bible. Now, does that mean that everything that we've created is wrong? No, it means that there are some things that are actually sound in principle, but we have to be careful of a lot of other traditions, a lot of other rules and regulations that have been created, a lot of the interpretations of the scriptures, and make sure that they are accurate and precise and that we're not being misled. And you notice I'm not being specific with anything. I want you to think about it and discern for yourself what I'm talking about. Now, I've been sharing this with you on the videos for a short while now. And this is my latest comfort zone that I have to step out of. And that is fully admitting this to people and letting them know that this is me stepping out of my comfort zone, out of my boat, and being willing to take whatever slings and arrows my fellow believers have. That's just the way it has to be. Now, the question I'd ask you, are you in your comfort zones? And if so, what are your comfort and safety zones? And are you going to step out of your boat, whatever that stepping out of the boat might be at that particular moment in your life? And here's the thing, it doesn't matter if you're 19 or 90. If God calls you, and He does, are you going to answer? Here I am, Lord, and send me. It's as simple as that. Are you going to answer God's call regardless of your age and regardless of who you are? You don't have to be a pastor, a Sunday school teacher, or a Bible study leader. You are in relationship with God. The veil has been torn so that you can have a face-to-face relationship with God without intermediaries, just you and God. So take that and go with it. So I pray that the Lord will show you the way and the truth, and that you will step out of your boat.